Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Winning Women Talk Show. I'm your host, Regina Shearer. I'm so glad to be with you this week. And if you are a regular, thank you for joining me again. And if you are new to this show, we're excited that you are watching this show, and we hope that the whole point of this show will inspire and motivate you this evening. If you've been a regular, you know that each and every week we try to present a different woman who shares her walk of life, if you will, and her journey to doing that special something that she's passionate about, that fulfills her, that makes her feel that she's doing something purposeful in life. And one of the things that I never planned on when this show started, but I'm sure you've seen a theme throughout, is that the majority of these women are doing things that benefit other people, and that's their fulfillment. That's what makes them successful. And also, that many of them are women who have a grounding in a faith belief of some type that gives them a foundation to keep pressing on, pushing on, and going on, doing what they love to do. I hope that as you've been listening to these different women, that something has motivated and inspired you. And tonight, if you're a person who's right on that precipice of saying, "Oh, I really would love to do this," but we hope that you're going to hear something tonight that will change that but to an and figure it out how to make that dream of yours come true. Because our motto on the Winning Women Talk Show is, if she can do it, so can I. And so we also want to invite you to participate. So it's not just about listening tonight. We would love to hear from you. And so there are two ways you can connect with us and be a participant on the show. And one of them is to call us. And that call in number is 781 384 5587. I'll say it again, but it's on the screen for you. 781 384 5587. And also, you can email me, and the email address is Regina at rgbinternetradio.com. That's Regina, Regina, because I know some of you aren't viewing, you're listening, at rgbinternetradio.com. We would love to hear from you, and I know our guest tonight would love to take any questions that you may have or hear any comments that you would like to make. So, I would love to introduce you to our special guest tonight, and her name is Ayana Crawford. She is the owner and president of AC Consulting and Media Services, and she specializes in helping nonprofit businesses and agencies, as well as community organizations, improve their what they do through communication skills development, marketing materials, social media management, and marketing strategies. Ayana is also a motivational speaker, an educational consultant, public relations facilitator. She is the chief of staff for State Representative Orlando Ramos and a newly elected school committee member for Wards 2 and 8 in Springfield, Massachusetts. She has lectured at several institutions, including Smith College, and specifically on best practices for literacy development in urban schools, and she's lectured at numerous other institutions of higher learning on topics of race, women's issues, and parenthood. She is the former host of Gospel Cafe, which is an entertainment showcase in New England, and of Taste Masters Soul, providing networking opportunities with key executives in the entertainment industry. Now, this one I love. Her signature program is called It's Your Turn, Take the Mic, which is a summer enrichment program for girls ages 5 to 18 in the greater Springfield area. She is the founder of the Women in Business Club Western Mass, and serves on the boards of Parent Villages, American Red Cross, and several other organizations. There's so much that she does. I'm going to let her tell you a lot about those other things. She is a graduate of Westfield State with a bachelor degree in psychology, and her master's in education is from Springfield College. So, with having said all of that, let me just say welcome, Ayana, to the Winning Women Talk Show.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Regine. Thank you so much for having me, and welcome as well to all of your listeners and all of the folks that are tuned in tonight.
Well, we are glad to have you on this show. And I didn't I know there's a couple of things that I'm hoping you're going to get to tonight, but I didn't want to tell it all. And I also don't want to a spoiler alert on some things you're currently working on that are coming up in the future. But primarily, we
Mhm.
want to first get to know who Ayana Crawford is. So tell us a little bit about you, your background, growing up, and how did you get on this trajectory that has led you to start your own business as a consultant, and of course, do all these political and civic engagement things that you're involved with.
Wow, that is such a loaded question, so to speak. I don't know where I should start, but I'm going to start really from the beginning.
Okay.
I am a daughter of a mother who was very much community centered, community focused. And I was also a granddaughter of a woman that was also a business owner, community focused, and really thoughtful about how to interact with folks in our community. So I had two examples of strong women in my immediate family, my mother and my grandmother, to follow, to be mentored, to watch, to engage with all the things that they did throughout my childhood, my teenage years, and of course, once I became an adult. And so it was sort of embedded in me of how I kind of became who I've become, because I again watched them, immensely, and was always around them, and I just wanted to serve my community as well. And so I think when I was about 20, I think it just clicked that I could definitely serve in a way. And so my mother at the time, she was a nurse, and she was the chair of the neighborhood council for a local neighborhood health center in our community. And she suggested that I run for the seat because she was kind of thinking about coming off, and she really wanted me to, think about leadership and what that looked like. And I didn't think that that was something that I wanted to do, but she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And she says, no, I really do believe you should run. And so not only did I run, but I won, and I became the youngest young woman, I guess, ever to sit in that seat as a chairwoman for a neighborhood advisory board for a major neighborhood health center in my community.
Well, what were you feeling in that moment when you actually won? Because sometimes you run for things and you say, well, this is a good experience for me. I don't expect to win, but it's a good experience.
Right, right. And so I think I had some ideas on what I wanted to do. I had some things because I had already been a member of the board. So I kind of saw how they
Okay.
interacted. I saw like the functionality, I saw the different initiatives. Like I could really sort of see some gaps of things that I thought would be beneficial, especially for young people, especially for the elders, and those two areas were really my passion. And so because of that, I was able to bring in some new initiatives that were centered around the youth and centered around the elderly. So
Mhm.
so I was able to kind of bring my ideas to the forefront, even
Mhm.
though I was really young. They thought they were great ideas. They thought that the work that I was doing to make those relationships was really powerful, and they accepted them. So, and I stayed on that board probably for maybe about 6 or 7 years. until
Oh.
such time I, decided to do other things that I wanted to do. So yeah.
Now, while you were dealing with that board a- and chairing and representing an enormous constituency of
Yeah.
the community,
Yes.
were you working at that time? Were you doing anything else, or was this your primary job?
So I was actually a student. I was a student. I was a student in college, and I was going for my BA in education. So I was doing that, and I believe I was working part time also at the college as well. In the back then, the affirmative action departments that we had on college campuses, I was working in that department. Helping to bring awareness around affirmative action. So I did have a job, and I was a student, um, and so I did have another life besides just doing that. But because I was a student, I really was thinking outside the box on how we do community differently, especially in urban settings. Areas that are low income. Access to healthcare is limited. Access to health insurance is limited. Access to quality, culturally relevant healthcare was at a minimum, and that was again almost 30 years ago. So you can imagine what the world looked like 30 years ago, and I was
Mhm.
trying to be sort of an innovator and someone that was really thinking outside the box. And so I remember there was the idea of bringing in someone that was more culturally responsive, someone that looked like the community to be the medical director. And I was very passionate that we needed someone that looked like the community in which they will be serving in. And so the neighborhood health center was actually an offshoot of our main hospital. And so I was able to speak directly to the president of the hospital about my ideas and about my concerns, and he listened.
That's wonderful. Now, is this entity that still in existence, and is it connected to the neighborhood health plan?
So that's a great question. So yes, it's the neighborhood health center on Wilbraham Road in Springfield. It is still existing. They have a really robust um, programs and facility that they do holistic care. They have a full time, nurses, doctors. They have different types of services that they provide. Whether it be mental health or with a regular doctor going to see your PCP or what have you. They do, infants and children, families, the elderly, and it's a sort of it's sort of the piece where now we have around the country these urgent care facilities, and those are really sort of more popularized. The neighborhood health center clinics that were started like 30, 40 years ago are similar to that, where they are just sort of that urgentness to be seen quickly, and then of course you need to do your follow up with your PCP.
Right.
But you could initially have, a PCP from that facility back then anyway.
Hmm.
Um, and so they offer all sorts of different, they take all sorts of insurances, especially. And the goal is to bring healthcare to the community. And I think they've done that really great. They do a lot of outreach programs where they're looking at how do we connect with families around nutrition? How do we connect with families around preventiveness things?
Hmm.
And then of course incorporating the what we call the farmers market. So we've had farmer markets in our parking lots, and
Hmm.
really talking about healthy eating as well.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, and so they've really taken a position of being preventive, and then also empowering families to take initiative in their own healthcare.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Okay. So you did that for a while.
Yes, yes, I
A-
did.
So was this throughout the 2 degree programs that you completed, and then you decided to go into something else, or what?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I think by the time I was done with college, I of course wanted a full time job. I had had a son at the time, And so I needed to really have, by the time I graduate, that is, because I graduated 4 years later. So I'm sort of projecting the time here. Um, and so I went into early childhood education. I was a teacher for a preschool program for about 2 years. And then I landed a job, which I was so grateful for, working in what is now not known anymore, but it was called the Massachusetts Career Institute. And I was a GED instructor for adults coming back into education, either getting their GEDs or looking for some skill sets around career advancement. And
Mm.
the vocational programs back then, because this is about 20 years ago, you could get retrained if you needed to learn a new skill so that you could either be promoted, or if there was some change within your job description, that you could do a different job and we could train you. So we had a training facility, and then we had a portion where if you needed your GED, we could also provide that. So I was a GED instructor, and I did that work for probably about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it was rewarding because not only was I the GED instructor, I also was able to assist different departments as well. So we had a McKinney-Vento program, which handled all of our homeless population, where we would go into shelters and, help help students and families get their GED. We
That's
would do,
great.
yeah, we would do programs in the facility at MCDI with support groups for families of domestic violence or substance abuse or whatever the case may be. And then, of course, we
So,
had, yeah,
so because we have people listening from all over,
yes,
you said for MCDI. Can you tell us what that is?
yep. So the Massachusetts Career Development Institute.
Okay. All right.
Yes, yep, yep. And it's no longer. It used to be this big facility where folks would come in and train in different industries and get their GED. So that's where I worked as a GED instructor.
Okay. And now I'm curious. You spoke of your mother and your grandmother as mentors, um, and obviously they were strong women. They were very engaged civically because the path you've shared so far
Mhm.
um, is indicative of that kind of understanding that I have a role to play. I'm part of this community. I need to be engaged in it.
Yes.
And yet there was the leadership piece,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That you followed through on as well. Are you an only child?
No, I am not.
Okay.
I'm actually the eldest. I have my mother and father remarried, both of them, and they both had new families. And
Hmm.
so I'm the product of that marriage, which is only one, which is myself. And I have two sisters on my father's side, and I have two brothers and one sister on my mother's side.
Oh my.
But I'm the oldest amongst everyone.
Okay. Okay. All right, because I was wondering, so were you just privileged to be um, focused on by these two strong women and all by yourself, or did you have to share? I didn't.
Right. Of course I had to share, I mean, we had a big family. My mother had five brothers and sisters, so we had cousins and nieces and nephews. My grandmother had, like, I think, six brothers and sisters, so we had an extended family. So there was a lot of moving parts of all different sorts of family members doing, lots of different wonderful things, and have done some great things. I think for me, I was so struck by the work that my mother and my grandmother did, that I too wanted to follow in their footsteps, so to speak, um,
Right.
and wanted to find my way, or find my pathway in community and in service to others. And so
Mhm.
I was able to kind of do that in my own special way. My mother, of course, she was a nurse for 40 years, so she did like community health stuff, and she organized health fairs in the community. She worked in behavioral health, and she was a supervisor in different spaces, and she created programs around mental health. My grandmother was also a nurse, and she opened up the first Black nursing home in Western Massachusetts
Oh
that was
my.
also, thank you, that was also recognized by Harvard Institute in their gerontology department for her work in the elderly space, and creating a nursing home, if you will, that really was before its time in the 1960s. And
Yes.
yeah, and so, and I actually got a chance to be, as a young person, part of the the I guess the method or the pathway of how young people engage with the elderly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, go over to the nursing home and do bingo or do activities with them. And because I was so willing to do that, she said, "Oh, you're going to be my activities director." And so I think I was like 13. So here I
Wow.
am doing the activities at 13, and really great at it, I guess. And because she wanted me to do that, and we had a schedule and all sorts of things. And then I wanted to have a job. And so she says, "Well, I can be your reference." And so I got my first job um, outside of college and all sorts of things at Kids R Us at, I think, 15 years old. So I'll never forget that. She was my reference.
That's wonderful. Okay,
Yes.
w- what followed
Mm.
after working with individuals? And I love the fact that there were homeless people that you reached out to complete their high school education. What
Mhm.
followed after that?
Great question. So after that, I decided to go back to school to get my master's degree in education,
Mhm.
because I knew I eventually wanted to be in the school district in my town. And to be able to teach, you had to have a master's degree. Well, once you
Right.
got in, they give you a certain amount of time, but I wanted to get it before I walked in the door. So I got my master's degree in 2006 from Springfield College, and got a job, I think, within the next couple of months after graduating. And I worked in the school district for many, many years. And then I was also doing community work too. So not only was I a teacher, but I was also doing community. And it's funny because some people, now that they see me more in community, always ask me, "Well, what do you do? Like, who are you?" And no one really knew that I was actually a teacher. Like, I was a teacher. They didn't realize how connected I was to my profession versus being connected to the community, because they would see me everywhere doing everything. So they couldn't understand how I could do so much in being a teacher as well. So,
Oh,
but
and you're not going to tell us you skipped any classes, right?
yeah, no, of course not. No, absolutely not. I was
So,
there every day. I mean, we had a schedule. So you'd be, from 9 to 3, I'm
right.
in the classroom. And then from the evening on, or the weekends, I'm in community, helping community. So, it's all about balancing. It's all about scheduling. It's all about prioritizing. And then making sure that you have some sort of connection too. So I was sort of the person that was helpful with our schools around, like, open houses or summer school. Like, I remember, the facilitator for our summer school program for a couple of years, just because I had a good connection to parents and the community. So my principal just thought it makes sense for me to be the summer school coordinator.
Now, were you teaching elementary, middle school, high school?
Yep. So I was in elementary. I was at an elementary school for many years, and I was actually the academic intervention specialist or teacher. And so that was a really big role, because I
Yes.
dealt with, like, behaviors, I dealt with modifications, I helped with helping classroom teachers around, what behaviors should we kind of reinforce or change or modify or what have you. So I was able to kind of come in and help with some of those best practices.
Mhm. So, in all of these endeavors you've shared so far, because we haven't even gotten to your business or anything else. I'm going to give you something to think about because we're going to take a quick break from one of our sponsors. But during that time, I'm curious, um, if you were working with senior citizens at the age of 13 and coordinating their activities, obviously you aren't a shy person.
Mm,
So, and there's certainly some confidence, self confidence that's always been a part of who you are.
mhm,
But along the way, because, and specifically because of the community activism that you
mhm,
never stopped engaging in, there had to be some challenges because you've talked about things that have all happened at a young
mhm.
age in life,
Yeah.
right? And so when we come back from our sponsor break, I'm just curious, what were some of the challenges that
Mhm,
you found or encountered in
mhm,
that period of time, and how did you deal with those challenges to keep being able to move forward? Now, again, for those of you who have just joined us, you have been listening to Ayana Crawford, and she is the founder and the owner and the president of AC Consulting and Media Services. And she helps nonprofits and community organizations in developing all those things that will strengthen their business and presence in the community.
mhm.
So we would love to hear from you, and we're inviting you to call us at 781-384-5587, or you can email me, Regina, at rgbinternetradio.com. Trust me, we'd love to hear from you. And going to take a quick break for one of our sponsors. Don't go too far. It'll only be about 30 seconds, and we will be right back. Don't go too far away.
At Portal to Hope, we're here to help victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking crimes. We provide support, resources, and hope to those who need it most. We believe that everyone deserves to live a life free from violence. If you or someone you know is in danger, please reach out for help. Call us at 781-338-7678. We offer a variety of services including counseling, legal aid, job assistance, and housing support. We also work to raise awareness about these issues and to advocate for change. Together, we can create a world where everyone is safe and free from violence. Portal to Hope is here for you.
All right, we are back with Ayana Crawford, and I hope that you had a chance to dash and get that water or whatever to stay cool today in these warm or hot, depending on where you live, temperatures. But before we took the break, I asked Ayana to tell us what some of the challenges were she encountered at a very, as a young adult woman,
Mhm.
taking leadership roles in her community.
Thank you for that question, and glad to be back. And so I think at that very young age, I think it was just not uh, being taken seriously. I think that was one of the challenges that I had. But I didn't realize that at that young age that that's what it was. Like I didn't have a name for it. I can name it now because I can reflect and see it for what it was. And so I was always trying to, um, be very matter of fact, be very clear, and be very passionate about what it is I wanted to do, um, irrespective of folks saying, I think you're too young, and they would say that, right? Or maybe somebody else should do it. Why don't you give that idea to somebody else so they can fulfill it? And so I was always met with that constantly, to the point where I was able to eventually sort of stand in my space and stand in what I knew, and I knew how to implement it. I knew the vision that I was trying to do, that I would just do it rather than bringing it to someone or getting someone's opinion about it or getting someone to stamp the approval for it. I decided to just stamp it myself and put it out there in the world.
Okay. Now, when you did that make some waves here and there?
Of course it did, because now you have somebody that not only can I implement it, I can create it, I can develop it, and I know how to connect the community to it. So I became the go-to person. And so that was sort of looked upon like, who does she think she is? Or how does she do that? And because I was met with, rejection multiple times, to the point
Mm,
where I decided that I didn't want to be met by rejection, or even to the point where you bring an idea to the fruition and you give it to someone that says, "Oh, I'll make it happen, I'll do it," and it's never done.
right.
And so, 2, 3, 4 years later, and it still hasn't happened. And I said, you know, I'm not going to allow that anymore. So whatever I create in my mind or whatever I want to do, I just go out and I just do it. So there's no one I need to go to other than God, right? To say, what do you think? But if not, I just push out what it is I do.
Right. I have a couple of emails here, but this one says, at what point did you start your business? Were you still, is this something recent? Were you still a young woman at that time?
Oh, that's a great question. Whoever sent that, thank you so much for that question. So in 2014, actually simultaneously, I did two businesses at the same time. So 2014, I started It's Your Turn, Take the Mic public speaking program. Actually, somewhat of three businesses. So I did It's Your Turn, Take the Mic, AC Consulting and Media, and then I did another sort of group called a Women in Business, which I don't necessarily talk a lot because it's just an online group that I created about 10 years ago. But I wanted space for women of color to be able to connect and interact with each other.
Hmm.
So in 2014 is when I kind of launched everything. And it was in my head for many years before that. But I said, I have to do it. I have to get this out of my head. I got to get out there. So when I did, the 2014, everything launched, and then I became more of what the community really needed, because at that time, we would have wonderful events, wonderful functions, but the media wasn't there, or there was nothing written up in the paper about the event. And so I and others would always notice that. And so I said, well, I know how to do that. I can write a press release. I can connect with the media. I can, hopefully get them to attend and do a story or what have you. And then I just became that because it was a need in my mind. It was part of the work that I wanted to do. And so I just launched them again the same time, 2014. And so I've been on this road for actually now, what, 12 years? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, at what point were you lecturing at Smith College? That's the other. Um, this person says, I'm a graduate of Smith College. At what point were you lecturing at Smith Colleges on best practices for urban schools? And so, if you could answer that.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I want to say it had to be in like 2009, 2008. And I
Okay.
believe the professor, if she knows anyone in the education department, and I believe she's still there, Dr. Lucy Dakwa, I believe that's her last name, but I know her
Mhm.
first name is Lucy. And she invited me. So this is how it went. There were students that came to our school for project-based learning.
Mhm.
And they were just so excited about the work that I was doing in my classroom. And so they invited me to their classroom to share what I was doing in my classroom to their students. And so the professor called me and said, I'd love for you to come up, speak to our students about what you're doing, in real time, so that our students that are going into education can hear from you directly. And so it was just, again, it was about best practices of literacy development, strategies development. Back then, there was so many different, ways in which you mitigate or, differentiate with your literacy development pieces that I was able to share. So yes, so I want to say 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. So yes, and I remember it vividly, like it was yesterday. Going into this to that classroom, being an intimidated, young teacher because I was young, and they're not too much older than me, but they thought what I had to share was something that they wanted to know.
Well, I obviously, when what you're putting in, implementing, what you're putting into place and implementing
Hmm.
that is benefiting
Mm.
young, especially urban children,
Yes.
um, who in many cases their literacy in whether it's reading, writing, math,
Hmm.
proficiency in basic, educational skills, or whether it's computer literacy or something else. Many times people, for whatever reasons, I'll
Hmm.
just put it that way, will misinterpret
Hmm.
that learning challenge they
Hmm.
may have, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And always think that the IEP is the solution. We'll get an IEP worked up for them, and many times that's really not what's happening, and you know that. So I can applaud it because teachers don't have the time to
Hmm.
do assessment like they used to in their classrooms. Their classrooms
Hmm.
are overcrowded, and
Hmm.
and so I applaud you. And Smith is a major school, and for them to invite you to come and lecture to them about best practices, that speaks volumes.
Right. Yes, it does. And I was so
14
honored.
years ago.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I was so honored. And to your point around literacy development, there is so many different ways, as you probably know, in terms of differentiating your instruction, right? Because we have so many types of learners. And I think, the systems were built on one type of learner. And I think that was so wrong, right? We have auditory learners, we have, visual learners. There's so many different ways that children learn that we have to really focus in on those specific learning styles. And there's
Yes.
so many different learning styles. And
Yes.
so I think it's so important, especially for young teachers, new teachers that are coming in, to really understand their students, that it's not a one size fits all, that, we have multidisciplined ways and multi ways and mitigated ways and differentiated ways to really service and help our students develop so they can be intellectual prowess, if you will, and really be able to manage and handle the curriculum or the
Yes.
content that
Yeah.
comes in front of them.
Yeah.
Because we want the best for all of our students. We
Right.
really do. But we really have to do a deeper dive in ways that we understand how do our students learn uh,
Yes.
in each class, because every class is very different.
Right.
When we think about math, you have manipulatives, right? You have the cubes and all those sort of things. Writing, you have the graphic organizers, right? So there's so many different ways that we kind of think
Right.
about it. So.
And I think another piece that comes into play is COVID.
Mm.
The fact that students had to become remote learners.
Mm-hmm.
Many who didn't live in homes that even had internet
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
had to find ways to work
Mm-hmm.
this out, whether it was to go to a local bookstore, someplace, a library, or whatever. It changed. It traumatized
Mm-hmm.
some young people. It created a lot of emotional and mental challenges that
Mm-hmm.
don't have anything to do with the level of intelligence they possess.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's always something. Here's one other, and I've got to read this one. It says, "Hi, Ayana. I absolutely love that you mentioned the farmers market as part of nutrition and community outreach.
Mm-hmm.
I think this can be a part of the solution for the food for the food deserts that can exist in minority communities.
Deserts.
I'm sure this helps disabled and mobility challenged elderly citizens as well. I've seen large vans that give mobile mammograms and even dental services in the same way. Could this be a long lasting strategy for addressing health disparities on a consistent basis? Or is it too difficult of an undertaking to do often? By the way, thank you for your work and care for others.
You know what? Thank you so much for that question, whoever that email came from. So in my town, Springfield, Massachusetts, we have really, I think, done a really wonderful job around um, the farmer markets. We have a community garden that had turned into a farmer's market. So we have what we call a store, a farm store, in right in the heart of the inner city, that is organized, directed by folks that look like the people that live there. We have another section of our city that has a larger farmers market. And we have a city that really prides itself on entrepreneurship and really helping to support farmers and to support growers, and also to support those that are interested in alternative ways of helping themselves, like as far as, health disparities, right? And so we understand that we have to do health differently, and we need to have different options. So we do have a great interface with our community, and also with our schools as well. So we have schools that have gardens. We have schools that, really are looking towards elevating that. And especially with our food management company, which I'm going to shout out. It's a new one for the city of Springfield that is going to be doing some work around that too. So it is something that our health centers, our schools, our community are embarking on and have been. I even at one point, probably about maybe 15 years ago, created a space in our community to bring local produce from a farm and sell it at a very reduced rate for the community. And they loved it, because many times, as you probably know, we have grocery stores in the urban areas, but some of those grocers don't get the quality fruits that they really need because the prices are so high.
Right.
And so I went directly, so I took out the middleman, so to speak, right? And I went right to the farm, got the produce, brought it back, and was able to sell it. And actually, since I'm saying this, I'm probably going to want to do something locally again, because we see it in two different specific areas in the city. But I'd love to see it more citywide, where we have little farm stands, in and out different little neighborhoods, so that
Mhm.
children during the summertime can just go get a peach or a plum or some grapes, or, something that they can hold, rather than a bag of chips or some
Right.
cookies or a
Right.
piece of candy, right?
Good.
I want to think about that. So, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, listen, speaking of children, when
yes,
you were telling us about the three things you started doing all at the same time after you stopped teaching,
yes,
um, this summer program called It's Your Turn, Take the Mic.
yes,
And you were talking about strengthening young girls in their public speaking abilities.
yes.
Tell us a little bit about this program.
I certainly will. And I'll use my It's Your Turn, Take the Mic official microphone that we use with our
Oh,
girls. So this is our official microphone that we use with the girls when they're on their podium. But again, so we have three different programs that we do in our summer program, which is our signature. Really, we love it, and the girls love it. We partnered with a community-based community college for about 6 years, and we delivered service once a week. And we would have professional women speakers, or professional women in any industry, come and talk about how public speaking is used in their industry. And then we would also have creative writing classes. Of course, I would teach Public Speaking 101. We would have computer classes. We would have what we call the getting to know you, or icebreakers, just to kind of relax the girls. And then we would do our what we call the exercises leading up to getting on the podium, taking the mic, whether it be poetry, whether it be reading something. whether it be introducing each other, writing a bio. But we would do different activities throughout the day so that they can really hone in on their public speaking. And it was a fun week for them. We did other little things. We'd have field trips and, just a lot of things that we would do. So it wasn't just they would have to always come up to the podium. They would do an arts and craft based on the theme of the day. The speaker would be coming in based on the theme of the day. The computer classes would have them write something on the theme of the day. So every day was based on a theme that I developed the curriculum for. And each summer we would change it up just so that, if we had repeaters or students that wanted to do it again, it was like, oh, I did that last year. Nope, it's different.
Yes. So
Yes.
it's a week long.
It's a week-long program from 9 to 3, and it's at the college, and it's a great setting for them. They get a chance to not only be a part of our program, but also get a tour of the college, get to know careers, and also if college is an opportunity for them as well. And they get to meet peers and friends. Like every year, they all either become best friends or it's amazing how young girls, and I remember growing up, it's like you meet these friends right in the camp or college or whatever, and you guys just become friends, and they all become friends, and it's like they can't wait to come next year to see everybody again. And yep.
Right. So Ayana, this is for for girls 5 to 18.
Yes.
How do they find out about this? How do they sign up for this? How?
Right. So we did a basically social media, word of mouth. We can take about 20 girls each semester or each session. And it's
How many do you do?
We only do one session a summer.
Okay. All right.
Yep. And so we do one session a summer, and it's about 20 girls. And basically we either, bring the girls that return, come back, or we get new girls. And it's always word of mouth. We do social media, advertising, we do radio advertising, and we always fill up every year. It never fails.
Well, so I cannot believe how time is just flying by. But
Yes.
I wanted to ask you to tell us about two things in particular. And one is that you have a business, and the other is you're a school committee member.
Yes.
And there is one other thing, and that is that you are the chief of staff for one of the state representatives. So can we start there at the state representative and then work our way to whichever, your business and the school committee, and you have like 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect. I'll try to do 3 minutes per thing. So being the chief of staff for the local representative is a wonderful and rewarding opportunity. It's sort of like my big classroom, and I get a chance to help people and families in bigger ways. I have more keys, I have more doors open to me so that I can really help families, whether it be in unemployment issues, housing issues, food insecurity issues, whatever it might be. I'm able to help around constituent services. And of course, working in the legislature, I can also support the legislator around bills and helping to draft them and helping to advocate and get the people that are in need so that they can support and sponsor and help sort of facilitate all the language that we need. So I help that way. I also help in really getting my legislator out and about in the community, supporting him around opportunities that will help benefit the work that we're doing. I might attend an event on his behalf, or we might attend events together based on what his vision and what his mission is, so that he's really supporting community in the way that he wants to show up. And I do that wholeheartedly because I understand that I am here to work in collaboration, but also to work in helping our community know that our legislators do stand up for our community, and they do support our community, and we need to be able to show up and be there for them. So
Right.
that's my role. And then switching gears a bit, going into the AC consulting. That's just something, because I'm in the community, because I did the media marketing and all that. There are opportunities where events might be happening, and they're like, oh, who do we talk to get the media there? Or who do we talk to get more people? So then I come in and I help them sort of understand what that looks like, and helping them sort of figure out ways of strengthening their outreach, strengthening their connection to the media. And so we put together plans and help them around that. And those are generally, that's my weekend gig, so to speak. So I do that like on the weekends, right? Um, and then in terms of the other piece that you mentioned, so you said the chief of staff.
School
uh,
committee.
Oh, yes, and the school committee. So the school committee, those meetings are in the evening after work hours, and so I'm able to do those. I'm on several different subcommittees. We have meetings actually twice a month, a regular full body with all the school committee members, and we address the needs of the families, of the constituents, of teachers, and we hear from everybody constantly all day long.
Mhm.
And we try to do our very best to position our district in the best way possible, so that we are helping families, helping our teachers, and helping our students. And I love that work. And I love the fact that I can represent a district that I live in, and then see the same community members at the grocery store or out and about saying, you know what, thank you so much for standing up for us, or thank you so much for what you said, or at least, being present at a community event
Mhm.
that we know that now you represent us on the school committee. So that work, it's hard, it's labor intensive, but it's a good work. And I think, as everyone has told me, I was sort of, um, um, positioned for this, because of my early years in terms of leadership and being young, that I was able to kind of just be groomed into this moment that I find myself in. And I tell you what, it's just unbelievable to be able to be of service in this way for my community and all the things that I do. Because even before we got on the call, I was managing and helping a woman that found herself in a homeless situation, domestic violence, and having 4 children and having nowhere to go. And I've been trying to help her for the last 24 hours. And so that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I love to do. And that's what I'm going to always do. I'm going to serve the people the best way that I can.
I think it's absolutely wonderful. Now, we actually have a couple more minutes.
Okay.
I know about two other things, so I'm trying to get it all in.
Good, good.
And because you're into uh, young girls, young women,
Hmm.
I know that you have a special group
Hmm.
that's health related, and I'd love
Yeah.
for you to talk about that. And then authorship. I'll just leave it
Yes.
like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So we
So,
we, we have about 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay. So thank you so much. So we have a new initiative through the Take the Mic public speaking program, which we've been doing health stuff. So I did a health fair for the last 4 years, but this year we pivoted just because we felt like we wanted to do something different. So we're doing a walking club that is called Take Back Your Health. And so it's a 6-week program where we're bringing the entire family to participate at a local track in the city. We're going to have blood pressure checks, we're going to have giveaways. We're going to be having a book sort of reading about how to eat to live. We're going to partner with other community based organizations, and we're going to really speak to how do we do our health better. And so we're going to have a journal, we're going to write down our weight, we're going to be thinking about ways that we can eat healthier, we're going to have water on site, we're going to have fruits and vegetables on site. And again, we want the entire family, the babies, the elderly, the aunts, the uncles, everyone. And we really want this to be not only an initiative for this year, but something for the entire city to embark on, whether you have a walking group in your neighborhood or whether you join our walking group. We just want everyone to get up and get out and start moving more, because we
Yes.
know that we have a high rate of obesity, we have a high rate of hypertension, we have a high rate of diabetes. And so the ways in which we help to curtail those health disparities is the way that we move our body. And so eating healthier, moving your body, getting up and being active is so critically important. And so we just have to do it now. We cannot wait anymore for someone to say, you know what, you should take back your health. We're saying to you, it's time to take back your health.
Right.
So I'm super excited. So this Sunday, July 5th, we kick off, and we've already gotten about 20 people signed up, and we're just like flabbergasted because
That's
we just put it out
wonderful.
there. And so we're super excited. So we hope the community in Springfield would join us. And I also wanted to mention too that I can't do this work without my children. I have two beautiful children. One is 31, Kamal Crawford, and the other 21-year-old, Sarah Crawford. And of course, they're going to get so upset with me for giving their names out because they're so quiet and behind the scenes and shy and all sorts of
Call
things.
them, call them.
And then I have two beautiful grandchildren from my son, Cruzy, as we call him, and Kyron. One is 7, which is Kyron, and Cruz is 2. And again, I can't do this work without the love and the guidance and the special connections I have with my children who, always say, Mommy, if you think you should do it, you should do it. And they're so supportive of the work I do. Of course, when it's their time, they need me. So I have to spread myself, making sure that, my time is spent not only with my office, my work, and my business, but also with my family. And we try to do Sundays as family day. And my son said, because I'm doing the walk and he's very athletic, he's going to do our warm ups so that we can still do our family day and that we're not missing it out.
That's wonderful. And very briefly, but please let us. I'll just let everybody know she's writing a book. Tell us
Yes.
about it.
Yes. So I have a book that we have gotten the illustrations for. It's a journey on my grandmother from childhood to adulthood, becoming a nurse. And so the illustrations are done. We're just going to put the text together. Then I put together a book on It's Your Turn, Take the Mic, public speaking tips for girls. And so I think we have about, 8 or 9 chapters. And so we're looking to publish that hopefully next year, both of those books next year. And then the 2 other books, it's going to be a journal with sayings from my mom, just affirmations, things that she always told me to do or think about. I'm going to put those in a book as well. And then the other one is I wanted to do somewhat of a book about my grandmother because I believe that people need to know more about her story and who she was. So I want to do that too. So those are the 4 books that hopefully, God willing, I can get them all out next year, or at least 2 of them, and then, wait for the other 2. But I figured at this point in my life, it's ready I need something to share and be able to express when I hit the stages, because that's my goal. I'm ready to hit the stages. So if you're in a city near me or not, and you're looking for a motivational speaker or someone that can tell some stories and share some motivation or share my journey, I'm more than happy to travel. And I'm looking forward to traveling.
So, how does one find out more information about you, your company, or get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So I'm all over Facebook. It's Ayana Crawford. That's my Facebook page. Then I have Take the Mic program, our program page. And then I have AC Consulting and Media PR firm on Facebook as well. And then they can reach out to me. My office number is 413-302-7911. You can also email me at acconsultingandmedia@gmail.com, or you can also reach us at staff.acconsulting and acconsultingmedia@gmail.com.
Well, we're going to do you a favor because Ayana is
Yes.
going to send me all those different things she
Yes.
was talking about. And when we upload this show onto rgbinternetradio.com website, you will be able to find her show in the Winning Women archives, and you'll find all those contact points for her. Ayana, thank you. We thank you so much. We now understand that you truly are a winning woman, and that's
Oh,
why you're on this show. We want to thank you for all the work you do that is definitely not only changing the lives of people, but it's across the board. It's not just one specific group. Thank you for caring about your community, for giving back to your community, and for being the leader that you are in what you do.
thank you so much, Regina. And thank you so much to your listeners and for your platform for allowing me to have this space and this time to share who I am. And I appreciate all the things that you do as well.
Well, our time has come to an end, but join us again next week, same time, same place on the Winning Women Talk Show. And remember, if she can do it, so can you. And on that journey, love somebody. We're out of here. Thanks for being with us this evening.